Welcome to Colney Talk Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're having an amazing weekend. Welcome to another episode of Colney Talk Podcast, a bite-sized show. I'm your host, Alex, first-time guest. Happy to have you here. And to my returning listeners, thanks for joining me. On this bite-sized show, I talk a bit about the Arsenal game and then pick out my top 3 Arsenal players who I think were great in the game, and one player I consider the odd one who just had a poor game or not good enough, who just needs to be called out. Burnley against Arsenal. Another injury absence. Ben White this time around. First thought, I hope we don't have a defensive leakage that puts us in a bind. Still no Odegaard. Eddie on the bench. Well, that's good. Glad Saka was fit for this game, seeing how we were worried from the knock from the previous game. There was a bit of tension seeing how refereeing will be called. Not that that should be any conversation or any part of it, but hey, we're here. A different adjustment offensively, I think. But the person to look in this game as it started for me was Tomiyasu. He had to really match that same level of connection with Saka on the right. So that was something to think about. And then the notable about the speedy winger of Burnley. So those were the two things that for me I had to look out for. And since we had White's absence and a lot for Tomiyasu to make up for, which we're really comfortable for, he did step up and did that really well. As the game warmed up, I saw a low block Burnley positioned, and as they presented it, it made things for a start calm. But then that changed rather quickly. It just picked up so fast because Jorginho just served Saka with a brilliant pass to give him room to dribble pass in the box. Positive start for the Gunners with their pressing and their passings and the runs. The team were tactically in sync. They were really alive, and they were so quick as well to regain the ball. All swarms of red and white to regain it. Then it was business as you would expect. Arsenal dominating in territory and occupying Burnley's half for long periods of time. Arsenal kicked it up another gear. Saka just looking sharper and quick, first to react on the ball. I mean, this was lively. Then the attacking waves just stayed on, for a bit, and it just resulted in a number of corner kicks. And they kept Arsenal stationed in Burnley's box, successfully making good connections. Just missing a piece of element that is crucially needed. A poacher or solid header at the end of the crosses that just kept coming in. Harvard just had to do more. He just had to get bolder on the ball. So much for it was needed. But as such, Arsenal suffered clinical finishes at least 4 times with the sleek chances and fast breaks. It seemed our main recourse was whipping crosses in for a lucky connection at the end, which we were hoping for. That just was not happening. Arsenal just kept peppering Burnley with so much attacking series of sequences, and it was still 0-0. Burnley had their own little threats. Credit to them for that. They had good chances, to be fair. It just was very slight margins for them to get on the score sheet at the time, but we managed to get ourselves out of that tough situation. 40 minutes of the first half, positive gameplay for Arsenal, but a disappointing output in terms of finishing. Granted, it was a crowded area in Burnley's box as we had pinned them back, but some of those moments called for single hero performances, like something where Trossard took on the ball, Martinelli took on the ball to just fire for shot. I just felt like it could be desperation, but I wanted that to happen. Credit to the team, they kept bringing their firepower on the deliveries and the crosses. That just didn't stop. I would say the team kept on with that, and all the crosses that they kept whipping in, they managed to stay in control, reset, and create another series of attacking sequences. So that was just something interesting that Arsenal were able to maintain for a long period of time in the game. We finally got through the deadlock. It was a rough and unsexy goal by Trossard, putting his body on the line. Literally, he managed to get on the field briefly after the whistle for that first half. At the time, it wasn't a bad situation for him to get subbed off. So Second half, Burnley just bursted out with a close chance on a one-on-one sprint with Saliba and their pacey wingers I mentioned earlier. But thankfully, we were able to, close that out. But Arsenal were not yet fully aligned in that situation, and they were unfortunate to allow Burnley to use that minute to get back into the game, bringing it to a 1-1. Ugh, such a terrible situation and the feeling at that moment. A few seconds later, though, Saliba just gave us the lead back from a towering header by Trossard's corner. I was looking at the team to get another score after that, just to maintain control of the game. Martinelli, as he just kept causing problems as usual, it just kept picking on and growing, and in a way that opened up a bit more space for Trossard and Zinchenko to freeze up Burnley's defense, and that allowed Martinelli for more dribbling and with so much ease, giving us at least a few more chances with the whips, with the crosses that he just threw in the box. But those lead to more corner kicks, and I think from there it did show that was their vulnerability, and we took a lot more advantage from that. And from an acrobatic goal by Zinchenko, that cushion was there. We just needed that. We were able to breathe easy, manage the game until something, just a sudden shock of events, Vieira's red card. I just couldn't make out how that was warranted, but here we are. It was just a bad situation, bad moment at the time. Now it just turned into suffering time for Arsenal. Good thing, though, we had that cushion earlier, because it just felt like these are wise things that the team has to keep in mind, knowing that anything can happen. So Arsenal had their work cut out for them. 6 minutes after the 90, it was time for us to just stay in and stay locked in. Tomiyasu was on a tall task. Whew. The concentration was on. I mean, the collective for the team, it was switched on. I would say I was worried about Zinchenko for him defending one-on-one in this kind of circumstance, because I had to hold my breath a lot, and then for that actual moment when I thought Burnley had, scored a second goal, they just had that, just quick chance of getting to the box behind Zinchenko, and at this point I just felt, okay, now they're going to score, and then we will hold on for a 3-2, but thankfully that didn't happen. We had a bit of grace, and we held on to that final score, and that was the whistle, and it was a 3-1 victory. It was a rather stained excitement, but we won. Impressive job by the boys, good defending. The guys from the bench came in and kept the levels and quality up. That's a big time impact, really big time. Straight to my top three players against Burnley. First player, Trossard, a goal and an assist. His combination with Martinelli was so good. His ability to present quality influence in and at the edge of the box were the perfect combination for this game. It would have been awesome if he took advantage of the fast break moments alone when he got the ball, then just waiting for the defense to reset and then trying to make things happen. Those are moments that just needed that individual brilliance to go further. Second player, Zinchenko, he was the line-breaking chef in the middle, especially when he had free reign to add more pressure on the left with Martinelli. He had his own share of defensive battles, especially after the red card, and he worked his best. Kudos to him. The moment we all thought a second goal was going in, we aptly managed to get a call back in, and it was in our favor for a goal kick. A lot of influence and things that happened came from Zinchenko's contribution, and in those final moments when we were defending and he really tried to get the crowd up, that's really huge. It's something that the team needed, and having the fans and the crowd to get back in how much we wanted to push things. Third and final player, Tomiyasu. I had two other players to nominate, but Tomiyasu to me just deserved it because he was excellent. Barring the first Burnley goal, he gave Arsenal that steady hand defensively, and on that toughest side for him to defend today, I thought he was great. I imagine if Ben White was available, somehow Tomiyasu would have still been in that spot, or at least had some contributions to make some adjustments, because to nullify that winger, we needed someone that can equally match him, and he did that. He played hard, took away less pressure from Arsenal's backline, and that was huge, really huge for us. In fact, really held us to managing to hold on to the lead and maintain the dominance from the way we stayed structured. So that was good from him. Not much of an odd one today, but I really wish Havertz just asserted himself more in the game, a bit more. The crosses in the box were designed for him. Just there was nothing else but really calling for Havertz to really be the one receiving those shots from the end and crosses. Arteta had Bit Gabby feature in the box for a little bit because of that. So that tells you a lot on how much Havertz just needed to do things and have one or two of those crosses connect with himself. There's just so much that he would have done, and it's a lot crying for him to unleash himself, and he has to embrace it. So that's all I can point out there. It's an amazing result, folks. 3 points, and we are back in the right position heading into this international break. May this break fully needed, bring back our other big players fully back and healthy in the squad and get everyone really aligned, because we have quite another tough series of schedule coming in for the next few months. So, hey, best time for this, and hopefully we can just keep this injuries at bay for a while. I'll leave you here for this bite-sized episode, folks. Don't forget to check out ColneyTalk.com for more Arsenal content. Until then, I'll talk to you all later. Take care.